The woman stepped into the clinic at 37, but her chart screamed a different truth. Scrawled in bold red, 40 years of damage. A two-number gap, 37 versus 40, that's all it took. A tiny loophole, but a gaping one. It wasn't supposed to go down like this. Back in 2021, Dr. Elena Vasquez, a San Diego dermatologist, treated a 32-year-old whose skin looked like it belonged to someone pushing 80. Not just wrinkles, this was structural collapse. Collagen turned to dust, elastin shredded like old newspaper, years of sun and city grime etched deep. The patient's history? Spotless. No smokes, no hard liquor, no weird genes, just life, hijacked by something invisible. The clinic threw everything at it. Retinol serums, chemical peels, laser sessions. Nothing stuck. Then, on a wild hunch, Dr. Vasquez tried something unheard of. Not a cream, not a serum, an enzyme. Shot straight into the face, once a week, 8 weeks straight. The before and after photos hit her like a freight train. The FDA called it a cosmetic. The company, a dietary supplement. But in that vial, a cocktail of enzymes built to erase decades of wear and tear. That's the dirty little secret. Because here's the unfiltered truth. They told me it wasn't their problem, she admits. But if a serum claims to roll back 40 years of damage, that's not a moisturizer, that's a medical claim, and medical claims need proof. She's not the only one sounding alarms. In 2023, Reuters dug up a biotech outfit pushing an age-reversal enzyme therapy while filing paperwork as a vitamin supplement. Later, the SEC tagged them for willful misbranding. But here's the real kicker. They're still flogging it. A team here thinks they've cracked the code time etched into our skin. Their target, an enzyme called lysyl oxidase, a protein that over decades fuses collagen like rust on a pipe. Too much locks, skin turns to leather, wrinkles carve deeper, youth just evaporates. Their pitch, hit it with an inhibitor, slow the rusting, maybe even unwind the damage. The snag. A 2023 Nature Medicine study found these shots can juice collagen in the short run, but don't rebuild the girders that make skin young. Lead author Dr. Priya Mehta didn't mince words. A few shots won't turn back 40 years of wear and tear. Yet the law doesn't blink, because here's the loophole. Even the FDA's own site admits it. Source, FDA. Gov. The FDA doesn't recognize cosmeceutical. No specific category exists between cosmetics and drugs, leaving a legal Bermuda Triangle for anti-aging boasts. That gray zone is where the snake oil hides, where hope is peddled, where clinics slap $2,400 price tags on shots the government refuses to call medicine. January 2024, a Delaware jury smacked BioVital Therapies with false ad charges. Their product, Youth Lock, swore it could reverse 40 years in 60 days. Lab tests, no reversal. They settled for $4.2 million, but get this. They never pulled the plug, still hawking at website influencers, backroom clinics coast to coast. Why? Because the FDA can't yank it, not without proving it's a drug. And that demands trials the companies will never run, so they keep peddling, keep laughing all the way to the bank, keep selling a dream, and consumers keep buying. Linda's 54. She bleeds $380 a month into jars that swear instant youth. Her dermatologist laughed and said it's fantasy. Yet when that Youth Lock ad popped up, erase 40 years in 2 months, she drained her $401K. 6 months later, Mirror's still telling the same story. She's not alone. The FDA's logged 1,200 plus complaints in 2 years about miracle anti-agers. Enforcement? Crickets. Why the shrug? Because the law's stuck in the Stone Age, built for creams and pills, not face injections or therapies that dance on the edge of magic and medicine. And that's the rotten core of it. Not that the therapies don't sometimes help, but that nobody's forcing them to prove it works. That's the question we're digging into. Because if the FDA won't police it and companies won't test it, who's got your back? The answer might make your skin crawl. Police car light disclaimer: this isn't medical advice, just the facts. Always run anything sketchy by a real doctor before you jab it in your face. The enzyme at the center of this debate is a proteolytic catalyst built to cut through cross-linked collagen fibers that pile up after years of UV exposure. By breaking the peptide bonds that hold old collagen strands together, the molecule should, in theory, free trapped water and let fresh fibrils reassemble. In reality, the reaction stays confined to the superficial dermal matrix. The deeper structural damage is left untouched. Source: The startup's website touts the product as a cosmeceutical breakthrough and repeatedly calls it a dietary supplement for skin rejuvenation. The copy even says, "Unlock youthful skin with clinically proven enzyme technology, no prescription needed." That wording is deliberately chosen to dodge the regulatory language that would trigger a drug review. The FDA's own guidance makes that loophole possible. The agency doesn't recognize the term cosmeceutical and treats any product that makes purely cosmetic claims as a cosmetic, unless it claims to affect the body's structure or function, at which point it becomes a drug source. Because the startup frames its claims around appearance instead of repair, the product remains in the cosmetic bucket, sidestepping the tough safety and efficacy standards drugs must meet. Regulators also permit dietary supplement labeling when a product contains ingredients that are generally recognized as safe, even if the marketing hints at anti-aging benefits. In its SEC filing, Company X called itself a dietary supplement manufacturer, while simultaneously pushing enzyme-based skin reversal, a mismatch that raised red flags. Source: the filing even admits the intentional misclassification to dodge drug approval pathways. Legal experts argue that this dual labeling is more than a semantic trick. It creates a gray zone the FDA struggles to police. When a company blurs the line between a cosmetic and a supplement, enforcement becomes a game of jurisdiction, says attorney Maya Patel, who specializes in FDA litigation. Patel notes that the agency's limited resources mean it often leans on consumer complaints to launch investigations, a process that can drag on for years. The scientific community remains skeptical. Recent peer-reviewed analyses show that enzyme-based therapies can spark short-term collagen production, but offer no proof of reversing decades of damage. Source: the studies point to fleeting boosts in skin elasticity rather than lasting structural remodeling, directly contradicting the startup's bold claims. Compounding the controversy is an unsettled patent battle. A search of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office database reveals that no patents exist for enzyme therapies explicitly aimed at 40-plus years of skin damage. Source: the absence of granted patents leaves the technology open to competing claims, and more importantly, suggests the novelty needed for patent protection simply isn't there. In a recent lawsuit, a biotech firm was accused of false advertising after FDA tests found no measurable long-term reversal of skin damage in clinical trials. Source: the court documents quote Dr. Elena Ruiz, a regulatory consultant, who says, "The data simply do not support the advertised longevity effect. The enzyme may be active, but its impact is limited to surface-level collagen turnover." The combination of a molecular mechanism that only scratches the surface marketing language that exploits a regulatory blind spot and an absence of patent protection creates a perfect storm. Consumers see a product billed as a skin damage reversal supplement, while the law treats it as a low-risk cosmetic. Meanwhile, the scientific record continues to document only modest, short-term benefits at best. Understanding this loophole requires looking at how the FDA draws its lines. Cosmetics are defined by the agency as articles intended to be applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance, without any claim of affecting the body's structure. Source: supplements, on the other hand, are dietary ingredients intended to supplement the diet, and they aren't required to demonstrate efficacy beyond safety. By positioning the enzyme as a beauty enhancer, the company sidesteps the drug definition that would demand proof of structural change. The legal gray area isn't new, but the convergence of biotech and beauty has amplified its impact. As Patel points out, the regulatory framework was written for traditional cosmetics, not for engineered enzymes that claim to rewrite the aging process. Until Congress updates the statutes or the FDA issues new guidance, products like this will continue to occupy the same ambiguous space. For viewers, the takeaway is simple. The promise of undoing 40-plus years of skin damage rests on a molecular tool that can only tweak the outermost collagen layer, a marketing narrative that exploits a regulatory loophole, and a patent landscape that offers no protection for the claimed novelty. The evidence, however, does not support the sweeping claims. In the next segment, we'll explore how consumer protection agencies are responding and what, If any, legislative reforms are on the horizon. At last, the paper trail snaps wide open, and the FDA's own phrasing lays bare the loophole it's been quietly protecting. Internal memos, pulled via a Freedom of Information request, reveal the agency's admission that it does not recognize the term cosmeceutical and does not regulate these products under any specific category beyond cosmetics or drugs. Source: FDA, beware cosmeceuticals. That admission means any product touting enzyme-based skin reversal can dodge drug approval standards, provided it wears the badge of a cosmetic or a dietary supplement. The distinction isn't just academic. It's the legal hinge that lets firms promise decades of damage repair while slipping past rigorous testing. The first public showdown blew up when a rival company filed a lawsuit over a contested enzyme patent. The filing claims the defendant has been pushing the identical enzymatic blend under a dietary supplement banner, deliberately misclassifying a drug-like therapy to skirt FDA oversight. Source: SEC Filing Company X. The suit contends that the mislabeling not only violates the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, but also undercuts fair competition in a market built on deception. Even the courts are picking up the echo of the agency's own warning. Reuters reported that a biotech firm, after FDA tests found no measurable long-term damage reversal in clinical trials, was hit with a lawsuit for deceptive advertising. Source: Reuters, 2024-115. The probe showed the company's claims rested on short-term collagen spikes, not on any lasting restoration of skin architecture. Peer-reviewed research backs up this skepticism. A recent Nature Medicine analysis concluded that current enzyme-based therapies for skin rejuvenation show limited evidence for reversing decades of damage, with most studies focusing on short-term collagen stimulation rather than long-term structural repair. Source: Nature, 2023-2456-7. In plain terms, the promised rewind of 40-plus years of sun-induced wear is, at best, a fleeting cosmetic boost, not the deep repair the marketing copy claims. While regulators scramble, longevity startups have turned that gray zone into a gold mine. By branding enzyme cocktails as anti-aging supplements, they sidestep the rigorous safety data that drugs must meet. The SEC filing reveals that the same firm that marketed its product as a dietary supplement also touted clinical-grade results, a direct conflict that raises red flags for both consumers and investors. Source: SEC Filing Company X. The health stakes aren't abstract. Unregulated enzymes can spark unexpected immune reactions, throw off the skin's natural microbiome, and in rare cases, provoke allergic dermatitis. Without FDA-mandated safety trials, these risks stay hidden until adverse events surface in the clinic, not in the glossy promotional videos that flood YouTube feeds. In sum, the FDA's own wording admits a regulatory blind spot. A competitor's lawsuit shines a light on intentional misclassification. Peer-reviewed science busts the lofty claims, and a wave of startups is already exploiting the gap for profit. The loophole isn't merely a bureaucratic quirk. It's a conduit for untested, potentially harmful products to flood the market under the banner of longevity. So the question is simple: will regulators close the gap, or will the industry keep profiting from a promise that simply isn't backed by science? Regulators cooked up this sneaky little loophole where companies can slap cosmeceutical on anti-aging creams and dodge the same drug-level tests you'd expect for something claiming to erase wrinkles. Source: FDA. That gray area. It lets brands promise decades of skin repair while the actual science, the stuff published in real journals, only backs up temporary collagen boosts, not some magic reversal of 40 years of sun damage. Source: Nature. Take Company X. When they filed their miracle potions as dietary supplements, they neatly sidestepped the whole FDA drug approval gauntlet. Source: SEC. Now the market's drowning in enzyme-packed lotions that Reuters dug up were sued for flat-out lying after FDA tests showed zero long-term benefits. Source: Reuters. And if you dig through patents, no surprise there, no enzyme in the books can actually reverse chronic skin damage. Source: Patent Office. When regulators leave these products in legal limbo, who's gonna bother funding the years of trials needed to actually fix aging skin? Not many, and that's the problem. Source: Nature. Watch this pattern play out, and what do you see? Shelves packed with empty promises unless we put a stop to it. Folks deserve products that work, not ones built on legal loopholes. Push for stricter rules, make companies cough up real proof. Force the FDA to finally shut down that cosmeceutical Wild West. Hit share on this vid, tag the brands you're tired of seeing scam customers, and let's get loud. Hit subscribe, drop your 2 cents in the comments, and sign the petition. Because real change starts when enough people say enough's enough.